In the recent presidential elections held in Senegal over the weekend, a compelling new figure has emerged, capturing the nation's attention and inspiring the people with promises of change and rejuvenation. This figure is Bassirrou Diomaye, a 44-year-old opposition leader who appears highly likely to secure victory in the first round of elections. Presenting himself as part of a new generation of politicians, Bassirou Diomaye advocates for national sovereignty, equitable wealth distribution, and the reform of what he perceives as a corrupt justice system. During his election campaign, Bassirou Diomaye Faye expressed his intention to break free from the French economic dominance in Senegal, and specifically proposed to abandon the controversial CFA franc currency bloc. This moment serves as an opportune time to shed light on Bassirou Diomaye Faye, Senegal's next president and the youngest democratically elected president in West Africa. Born on March 25, 1980, in Diavenio, Senegal, Bassirou Diomaye Faye pursued further academic achievements after completing his undergraduate degree. He obtained a master's degree in law and subsequently excelled in rigorous entrance examinations, earning admission to the prestigious National School of Administration (ENA) and the esteemed magistracy program. Following his graduation, Faye embarked on a professional journey as a tax inspector within the Tax and States Department, dedicating his career to public service and fiscal integrity. In 2014, at the age of 34, Bassirou Diomaye Faye made his mark during the meetings that led to the establishment of the opposition party known as PASTEF. Within Senegal, PASTEF emerged as a significant opposition force, challenging the long-standing dominance of traditional political parties. It was during this period that Bassirou developed a close relationship with Ousmane Sonko, a fellow ENA alum and the founder of PASTEF. Ousmane Sonko, who himself had overcome adversity as a tax inspector dismissed for publicly addressing tax evasion, rose to become a member of the National Assembly and later the mayor of Ziguinchor, a southern city in Senegal. Throughout the years, an intimate bond developed between these two men, Bassirou Faye and Ousmane Sonko. It is even rumored that Bassirou named his son Ousmane in honor of their enduring friendship. Later on, Bassirou Faye emerged as one of the key strategists and intellectuals behind Ousmane Sonko's presidential campaign during the 2019 election. Simultaneously, Sonko's fiery campaign speeches criticizing the government resonated positively with many young Senegalese, considering the country's sizable youth population. In his first election, Ousmane Sonko, the leader of PASTEF, secured approximately 16% of the vote, placing third. Unfortunately, a few years later, Sonko faced arrest following an accusation of rape made by an employee of a massage parlor. This incident resulted in PASTEF losing its charismatic leader. With several other party executives also arrested, the responsibility fell upon Bassirou Diomaye Faye to step up and assume the role of the party's general secretary. During this period, Ousmane Sonko faced legal battles, but he maintained unwavering support from his followers. His supporters found hope in his anti-establishment stance and his image as an anti-corruption figurehead. While Sonko navigated his legal challenges, PASTEF remained active and even achieved success in the 2022 National Assembly election, winning 56 out of Senegal's 165 parliamentary seats through an alliance with 4 other political parties. This accomplishment further emboldened both Ousmane Sonko and Bassirou Faye, leading their supporters to believe that Sonko had a strong chance at the presidency. Similar to his friend Ousmane Sonko, Bassirou Faye had his encounter with the law. On the evening of Friday, April 14, 2023, he was arrested and taken into police custody on charges of spreading false news, contempt of court, and defamation of a constituted body. This arrest followed Faye's social media post in which he condemned the perceived manipulation of the justice system, anticipating a conviction that could render Ousmane Sonko ineligible to run in the upcoming presidential election. Along the way, additional charges were leveled against Bassirrou Faye, including allegations of inciting insurrection and undermining state security. A few months later, Ousmane Sonko found himself imprisoned on charges of insurrection, joining Bassirrou Faye behind bars. Since 2021, when Sonko's tense standoff with the state began, sparking deadly unrest in Senegal, several hundred opposition members have been arrested. This wave of turmoil played a significant role in the decision of outgoing Senegalese President Macky Sall to postpone the 2024 election, plunging Senegal into its most severe political crisis in decades. It is important to note that Senegal had never experienced a coup before, and the country had a history of holding timely elections and witnessing peaceful transfers of power. Unfortunately, this election season seemed poised to be different. As previously mentioned, the popular opposition figure Ousmane Sonko faced repeated imprisonment and various criminal charges that he claimed were politically motivated. One of those charges resulted in a conviction that ultimately disqualified him from running for office. His supporters took to the streets in widespread protests, which were met with a brutal and deadly crackdown by security forces. In early February 2024, President Macky Sall made a shocking announcement that the elections, originally scheduled for February, would be postponed until December 2024. Sall justified this decision by citing the need to address confusion surrounding the presidential candidates. However, Senegal's constitutional court disagreed and ordered the president to immediately set a new election date. Fortunately, Macky Sall complied with the court's decision and scheduled the election for March 24, giving candidates a mere 13 days to campaign. He also promised to step down on April 2, regardless of the election outcome. Following this decision, and the subsequent amnesty for imprisoned opposition leaders, celebrations erupted among Senegal's opposition supporters. Just 10 days before the delayed presidential election, Ousmane Sonko and Bassirrou Faye were freed from jail, sparking hope and enthusiasm among their respective followers. On March 24th, voters were faced with a choice among 19 presidential candidates, although only 2 were seen as having a real chance of victory. The first candidate was Amadou Ba, a former prime minister from the ruling party. The second candidate was Bassirrou Faye, who emerged as the leading opposition contender following Ousmane Sonko's suspension. Supporters of Amadou Ba argued that continuity was what Senegal needed, while Bassirou Diomaye Faye electrified a significant portion of the youth population and also garnered support among the intellectual elite and civil servants. Additionally, Ousmane Sonko urged his followers to vote for Bassirou Diomaye Faye. The primary message of the campaign was that Faye aimed to capitalize on Ousmane Sonko's popularity to secure the presidential victory. Throughout the campaign trail, Faye promised profound change for Senegal, emphasizing left-wing Pan-Africanism. He vowed to combat corruption and reduce the economic influence of France over Senegal. In recent times, France has faced criticism and complaints from embittered African voices, particularly among progressive French-speaking West African commentators and urban youths. During his campaign, Bassirou Diomaye Faye even proposed the idea of Senegal abandoning the CFA franc, the regional currency used by 14 African countries and pegged to the euro under a French government guarantee. While supporters argue that the CFA franc ensures financial stability, critics view it as a means for France to maintain control over the countries using it. In this election, many young Senegalese, frustrated by economic and social inequalities, saw Bassirou Faye as a viable alternative. Senegal faces significant challenges, with nearly 40% of its population living below the poverty line and approximately 22% of working-age individuals unemployed. Preliminary results from the presidential election indicate a potential victory for Bassirou Faye, while Amadou Ba, the candidate from the ruling party, has already accepted defeat. If confirmed as the winner, Bassirou Faye will have the responsibility of guiding Senegal, often seen as a democratic beacon in West Africa, out of its recent troubles. He will also face the task of managing the forthcoming revenues from the country's oil and gas reserves, which are set to commence production.